Hello, my name is Husandeep Singh and my student ID is LGB3025. Today, my topic for presentation is issues in cash flow statement. So first of all, here's the introduction. In this presentation, we'll cover the explanation of income statement and CFS as two fundamental parts of financial statement of a company. And we'll also cover a literature review section, and there will be different parts of CFS, and there will be analysis of CFS of three companies. Those are Fantastic Limited, Santosh Limited, and BHP Limited. And at the end, there will be conclusion on the lending purpose, capability, and financial strength of all the companies. So we start with literature review. So as per Fashader and Monem, CFS is a fundamental part of a financial statement. A CFS shows employment as well as use of funds in the business. Our CFS consists of three parts. Those are cash flow from financing activities, cash flow from operating activities, and cash flow from investing activities. If we talk about cash flow from financing activities, these activities show the amount of cash used for financing the business. If we move on to cash flow from operating activities, these activities show the amount of cash generated and used in routine operations of business. If we move on to the cash flow from investing activities, these activities explain the ways in which the funds of the business are invested. CFS helps the investor in liquidity assessment. CFS are an essential performance appraisal tool, and CFS helps in decision making. So the next, according to Hales and Orput, an income statement can be recognized as another essential part of a financial statement. It comprises of four key items. First is revenue, expenses, gains, and losses. The total earning of a company can be termed as revenue, while the value expended for earning such revenue can be termed as expenses. A gain or loss can be explained as an outcome of a sale of an asset by the company. An income statement provides all the necessary information related to revenues of the company to the prospective investors. Income statement helps in forecasting the earning and growth prospect of a business that helps the investor in decision making. So now if we move on to analysis of CFS of BHP Limited from 2017 to 2019. So what are the major sources of cash? So cash flow from operations and proceed from divestment in 2019 amounting to US $10,427 million. So where were the major use of cash? So cash was used in purpose of PPE, buyback of shares, payments with respect to taxes, interest and dividends. CFOs have fluctuating trends over years. Generation of sufficient cash from operating activities for settling every year's capital expenditure and dividends. Increasing trend in capital expenditure and dividend payments. Decreasing trend in the amount of borrowed capital. Working capital of the business has been a source of cash. NPAT for the year ended 2019 for BHP Limited was US dollars 9,185 million. CFOs for the year ended 2019 for BHP Limited was US dollar 7,871 million. So there is a differences in figures. So reason for that is CFOs is the sum of total cash inflows and total cash outflows, whereas NPAT is computed after deducting various expenses like interest and taxes. So analysis of CFS of Santos Limited from 17 to 19. So the major sources of cash was amount received from customers, and the cash was used in the payment to suppliers and employee salaries. So there is CFOs, there is the increasing trend, generation of sufficient cash from operating activity for paying off capital expenditure and dividends. So in capital expenditure there is a fluctuating trend, in dividends there is an increasing trend, and amount of borrowings there is decreasing trend. So here is a consolidated statement of cash flows. So now if we move over the analysis of CFS of the Fantastic Limited from 17 to 19, the major sources of cash were the proceed of share issues and amount received from customers. So the cash was used in the payment to suppliers and salaries to employees. So cash flow from operation have resulted in a net cash flow. So the absence of cash inflows to cover capital expenditure and dividend payments. So capital expenditure there was a decreasing trend, and in the amount of borrowings, so there is a fluctuating trend. So here is also a consolidated statement of cash flow. Now, if we move over the analysis with respect to the financial strength. So first, if we talk about for BHP Limited, the substantial sources of funds for the business are its cash flow from operating activities and divestment proceeds in 2019. Company has made various investments and purchases by using the excess cash generated by the way of business operation of the company. For Santos Limited, substantial increase in cash inflows can be observed in 2018 and 2019. Receipt of handsome amount of customer payments every year, addition to borrowing in 2018, adequate cash position at year ends. For Fantastic Limited, a decreasing trend in the cash inflows can be observed. Weak cash position of the company and inability to settle capital expenses. Proceed of share issues and customer receipts are the only sources of revenue. Now, so the assessment of for lending purpose, best alternative for lending is BHP Limited. Reason for selection is handsome amount of cash inflows every year, good liquidity, sound position with respect to cash regularity in dividend payment, frequent repayment of liabilities, and declining trends in borrowings and others. So the conclusion is the income statement and CFS helps its user in analyzing the profitability, cash position and liquidity of an organization. This information is also helpful to the manager and investor in their decision making process. BHP Limited has a sound financial strength and good liquidity. The cash position of Santos Limited is fluctuating and unbalanced. Fantastic Limited is very poor in terms of financial strength, and BHE Limited is the most suitable option for purpose of lending. So here are the references, and thank you so much.